Welcome back to the Azores, everyone. This week we are still in Sao Miguel and we're exploring more of what this island has to offer. Here's what's coming up today. After a warm welcome and seeing whales and beautiful dolphins and hiking up majestic mountains, this week I'm heading east to explore more of the island's secrets. But things won't pan out as perfectly as I'd hoped.
Okay, so look, my time here in Sao Miguel has been a tale of hit or miss.
Yeah, this week I will be brutally honest about my experience here. The Azores are unpredictable, and I want to share with you some of my frustrations of traveling around these beautiful islands. So let me explain some more at the same time as we enjoy the beauty of this stunning part of the world. Enjoy. Okay, so let's begin. I joined a day trip to the Furnas region of the island. We're going to experience some truly unique things today, but we started off with a quick stop at a local organic tea plantation, just to have a quick nose around and have a quick cup of tea.
Okay, welcome to the first stop of our tour. We've just stopped on the side of the road at this beautiful tea plantation. I had no idea that they grew tea here, but it's all organic, and what's interesting is they're actually harvesting the tea right now. But yeah, it was very interesting to see them harvesting the tea with those modified lawnmowers, but they don't hand pick it here like they would do in somewhere like Sri Lanka. I think the ladies with the baskets on their back could probably do with a few of those machines. It would make their job a lot easier.
After a quick brew, it was time to head further up into the Furnas region and towards one of the volcanoes that formed this stunning island. We arrived at this beautiful lake in the crater of the volcano itself. Now, any foodies watching this video, you're going to love this place. Why? Well, let me explain.
Here at the volcano, which is very active, okay? It erupted in the 16th century, which is quite a long time ago, but not really in terms of the planet, right? But because this place is still active, there's a lot of sulfur coming out and there's a lot of heat. Now we'll go to a hot spring in a minute, but this is where they're cooking our lunch. Here in the Azores and in Sao Miguel, it's famous for volcanic ovens in the hole there where there's a lot of heat. I can feel the heat, by the way, even standing here. The heat from deep underground, from the molten magma is literally cooking our lunch. Inside one of these pots is our lunch. I knew we were getting close because I thought our tour guide Edward farted. This place is about to blow. But at least they're using the heat to cook our lunch. 6 to 7 hours it takes to cook the pots. And every single pot belongs to a different restaurant, and the restaurants are actually in different areas of the island, and there are only a handful of places where it's safe enough and hot enough to cook in these pots. Is it just a gimmick, or does it actually add to the flavour? We'll find out.
In a nearby restaurant, we were taken to try the food. It was a huge platter of juicy meats and local organic vegetables. The food was great. The texture was kind of like a typical English roast dinner, just a little bit more tender and a bit more juicy than normal, thanks to the long, slow cook of the food deep underground.
Lunch was incredible, really tasty, really soft, tender vegetables and meats. Chicken, pork, sausages, chorizo, everything you could imagine. But my God, am I full. I've never eaten that much food for lunch in my life, I don't remember.
The Furnas region is just gorgeous, and now we got our chance to head to the highlight of this entire area.
One thing that's really good about this tour is it was quite expensive at €100 exactly per person, but it has included obviously transportation, a tour guide, and lunch was included, and that was a lot of food, and they had wine and they had beer and coffees and dessert But it also includes free entrance into this place, which is normally around 18 euros entrance. All that's included. So this is the beautiful hot springs. It's actually inside a huge garden, and we're now given 2 hours here to just do our own thing. I'm gonna go for a nice walk around the park just to let my food digest a little bit, and then we were told to bring swimming costumes and a towel, which I've got in my bag, to go use the public hot springs. And yeah, so far this has been a very relaxing, pleasing, comfortable day tour to a part of the island that I really wanted to see. Thank God the weather is beautiful and the birds are singing, and as usual the Azores are doing their thing, putting on a show. Look at all these jumping frogs.
Quick message from the sponsor of my channel, Squarespace. If you need to build a website for any reason in 2025, it's never been easier than right now, especially on Squarespace, thanks to their brand new AI-led feature, Design Intelligence, which will build the website for you. You just tell it who it's for, what you're trying to do with it, and then it'll just build it in a matter of moments. And then of course, like my website here, you can add your own videos, add your own pictures, and it's really simple and easy to do so. And if you need to update the website at any time, it's so easy. I just recently wrote a blog post, even using the Squarespace app, I was able to amend how it looked on mobile, and again, that was really easy. You can build an online store, you can start selling products, start selling services. Now, not only is it really fun to build a website and it's completely free to do, but when you are ready to go live, make sure to come back to this video or click the link in the description, because you'll get 10% off your first website or domain thanks to Squarespace. And let's get back to the video.
If you're wondering about the temperature, it's perfect. It's beautiful. It's nice and warm. It's not too hot. I'm not quite sure about the colour. Suppose it's natural. There's no chlorine or chemicals involved. There is shade on the outside. There's a nice little tree area in the middle. There's a few jacuzzis as well, much smaller jacuzzi size ones where you can fit about 10, 12, 15 people near the bathrooms and the changing rooms. There's a bit private there, so I won't film, but this is the public one. Lots of people enjoying a lovely sunny day out here in the Azores, in the hot springs. Happy days.
Yeah, the hot springs had been great, and then the tour came to an end, but not before we stopped off at one last spot.
Okay, this is the final stop. We're at one of the old towns here. It's actually the old capital of the island, and it's got a beautiful port, but the most beautiful thing about it is the beautiful volcano island. It's formed 5,000 years ago, Eduardo told us, and it's just incredible. Now the sad thing is, I actually did want to go on a boat tour. You can do a boat tour over there, go in, have a look around, even do a hike, and it looks incredible. But the hikes and that season starts in 2 weeks. They're having issues with the marine life, and they're trying to protect it so that it's only open at certain times of the year. So I've just missed out on being able to go over there. But I flew my drone and it looks incredible.
So yeah, the tour had been great, but now I want to talk to you about some of the struggles that I've been facing here in the Azores. On the face of it, it might seem like an easy place to explore, but yeah, join me on the next day in the botanical gardens as I explain some more.
So here's what's happened. When I arrived on day one, beautiful weather, and there was a festival going on in the town, and there was lights, there was action, there was locals, there was food, and everyone was in a good mood, and life was brilliant. I was in a brand new place, it looked incredible. But day two was a bit cloudy and a bit overcast, but that's fine. I went whale watching and it was incredible. We saw dolphins, we saw whales, we were out on the ocean for about half a day. It was fantastic. But then day 3, day 4, and day 5, it rained.
It was a complete washout, and I spent 3 days basically in my hotel room. Sao Miguel is in the middle of the Atlantic, and weather fronts come and weather fronts go. But this one came, and then another one came, and then another one came, and it was quite a challenge mentally. By the way, I'm in the botanical gardens. It's €5 to get in. I've never been in here before, and it seems beautiful. So we've got something to look at whilst we share our thoughts. There was a moment on day 5, actually, where the sun came out, and I grabbed my backpack and I grabbed my hiking boots and I jumped in a cab and headed up into the mountains. But as soon as we got to any elevation, I realized those sunny sections of the island were very limited. In fact, most of the island, especially at an altitude, was in the clouds, in the rain. It was extremely windy, and it was like a different world. If it's sunny and beautiful down here in Ponta Delgada, doesn't mean anything. It might still be completely and utterly pouring rain, blowing a gale, or just generally miserable up in the mountains. The Azores, by the way, are famous for having 4 seasons in one day. So this is to be expected. This is to be expected. But this will lead me on to one of my points, which is the Azores is hit or miss. If you are having great weather, this place is incredible, because that's what happened on day 6. On day 6, the weather was incredible. I checked the webcams, which I soon learnt were very important, and it showed nothing but beautiful weather up into the mountains. And we went to Sete Volcano, and we did the viewpoint, we did the secret viewpoint, we then did the ridge hike. It was incredible. I had the best day. I felt great, I felt rejuvenated, and I just was having the best time ever, and it was such a hit. And then yesterday, big miss, and it wasn't to do with the weather. Now, because the weather had been so bad for 3 days in a row, a lot of tourists had cancelled their tours, cancelled their trips, their day outs. Whale watching tours cancelled, mountain hiking cancelled, van tours cancelled, because nobody wanted to go out in the bad weather. When the weather window came, everything was fully booked. I couldn't get on any tour or any trip today. I was feeling a little bit disheartened. I can't drive a car, and I don't trust the roads here on a motorbike. I could have rented a scooter and explored on my own, but I just don't feel comfortable with the way they drive here. They drive on the right-hand side of the road, they drive very fast, and the weather's so unpredictable, I just don't think it's safe, and I just wanted to be safely driven around. So what I'm trying to say is that my week here, I've only really gone out twice, and I've been stuck in Ponta Delgada, which, yes, is charismatic, it's charming, and there are restaurants, and there's a great hostel, and I've made some good friends, and I've watched the FA Cup final, but it's quite small, and it makes you a little bit stir crazy if you spend more than a few days, which I spent 3 days in my hotel room, basically, looking out the window, praying for good weather, which just never came. So what I think the main useful takeaway for you guys watching, if you're thinking about coming to the Azores, is you have to think about it like this. It's a kind of destination that's quite hard to get to in the first place. So because of the time to travel here and the expense, you want to make sure that you're going to plan ahead, make sure you're having a few things sorted, car rental, hotel, obviously, but activities, those activities do sell out, and places get busy and fully booked, so you want to book ahead, but you can't guarantee the weather. So let's say you book a Jeep tour, or you want to go on a hike into the mountains. You wake up that day, it's your day for your tour, and the weather is just making it impossible. And so what do? Do you still go on the tour, or do you cancel and do something else? So on one hand, you have to plan for the Azores, but on the other, you also just want to come here like I did, with a sense of freedom, go day by day and react to the weather, which is what I've been doing. But sadly, that didn't go as planned, because like yesterday, oh, tomorrow's going to be good weather. Can I go on a tour to so-and-so? No, sorry, they're all fully booked until Monday. It's a good job I booked 8 days here. So that's been my tale of the 7 days in the Azores. Hit with the whale watching, hit with the volcano hike, and then miss with terrible weather and a bit of mental fatigue of being here, waiting for the weather to change. And I've made some friends, there's been some positives, I've talked about those. So what I'm trying to end my experience here in the Azores with is a hit. Botanical gardens, a hit. We'll go up to this viewpoint, which I found
through Google Maps and my own traveler intuition. Hopefully that will be a hit. But just for full transparency, for the 8 days I've been here, I've only had 2 days of good weather and 2 days of fun. The rest of the time, been pretty miserable.
There was one last place I wanted to explore, as I mentioned. About an hour walk north of the town was a little hill that I saw. I checked my map and it seemed that there was a trail up to the top, and I thought it'd be a nice place to finish our time in the Azores and sign off with a beautiful view.
Okie dokie, welcome to the trail. That was quite a long, boring walk north, out of town. Quite flat, but now, as you can see, this is the hill that we have to navigate. When I was in the taxi going over to the volcano the other day, I could see this, and it's the first major hill anyway out of the town, and I thought, oh, this looks nice. I'll definitely head up here if the weather's nice one afternoon, because it'll have a great view of the island. It's not high enough to see the entire island, but still could be quite nice. Please don't say there's some stray dogs here. Hello, buddy. This one looks more scary. Thank God he's chained up. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness, that was a bit heart racing for me. The teeth and the fangs were showing, and he wanted me dead. Thank God the farmer had chained him up properly, because I was in trouble if he hadn't. Oh my God, that was terrifying. Definitely worth getting rabies for. We've got quite a few big bulls up here. They're staring at me. Ooh. Okay, that was quite steep into the wind, but we're here. This is the summit. There's a little monument here. Let's have a look at if it has anything written on it. Here we go. It says IGC 1953, and it is the highest point of this particular hill. Didn't feel like a hill coming up here. Whew. My heart was pounding with the dogs, pounding with the bulls, and I was desperately trying not to scare them, because I keep hearing that cows are starting to take revenge. So let's do a 360, and then I will plan my escape. So, over there, oh, that's in the wind. Let me turn around. Behind me, Cesadillas. I'm definitely saying that wrong, I'm very sorry. That's where we went in the previous video. The beautiful ridge hike, the beautiful viewpoint, the beautiful volcano, the beautiful lake, the beautiful town, and the beautiful pint. I'll link that video in the description that you can watch it after this. That is currently in the clouds again, and I checked the webcam and it's been like that all day. So even though down in the town it looks clear, because when the sun's out, it's a beautiful day, obviously, but the peak is completely in the clouds. Then you can also see just how green, luscious, and perfect this island is for farming, grazing, and growing cattle. Coming onto the other side, this is the side I much prefer, because you can see all of the little pockets of volcanic activity, the little volcano puffs. You can see all of the little bubbles bubbling away. Of course, if you were to zoom up into sky, 300, 400 meters or 10,000 feet in an aeroplane, they would look like little bubbles. But obviously, I'm standing on the biggest one here in the plateau anyway, and they are quite big and impressive. But in comparison to the big volcanoes, one in the middle of the island, one behind me, and one out into the distance, you can just see just how beautiful and unique Sao Miguel is, and the Azores in general, and why they have an appeal. Down there is Punta Delgada. There's the town. You can see some of the landmarks like the church spire, which is right next to my hotel, and the marina with all of the cargo ships and things. Along the coastline there's a few more villages and towns, and basically so much of the island that I was unable to discover. I really thought 8 days would be enough to see the whole island, but because of weather I've barely scratched the surface, which is a good thing. It means that I can come back and not only discover more of Sao Miguel, but go to the other islands. Here's another thing about the Azores, guys. On a map, you might see Sao Miguel and the other islands, and you might say, right, I'll go to Sao Miguel, and that could be my base of operations, and then we can go on day trips or whatever to the other islands. You can't. You have to fly to them, from here anyway, because this island is a bit far out compared to the others. The others are all clustered together, and there are ferries that go between them. And if I was going to do this trip again, I would have booked a flight way ahead of time, because they're very expensive. They're about 200 euros return, and they're very short distance flights, and I didn't really justify it. Plus, I couldn't predict the weather. I might fly all the way there and go to do the volcano hike or go to do something, and it would just be a gamble and just something I wasn't willing to risk the funds on. But anyway, coming up here, hit or miss? Well, apart from the scary dog and the scary cow, it was a complete hit. What a view.
So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is my overview of my time in the Azores. Beautiful, remote, quiet and peaceful. The only trade-off being it's certainly unpredictable. And that concludes our time in the Azores and Madeira. These Portuguese islands had been fantastic, and I really hope you've enjoyed this series. It's nice to go somewhere a little bit different, and so if you have enjoyed the trip, drop me a like and let me know in the comments below where I should venture next time. But for now, I'll still see you all next week. Safe travels, and thanks for watching.